In the meantime, I'm going to bring on Mike Shoesmith, who is the executive editor of the ppsimmons. That's what it used to be called. Now it's the moniker's the PNN News and Ministry Network. And you can reach Mike and all the staff there. And he's got a lot of folks, writers and monitor, comment monitors and good gracious, people that make graphics, people that do video stuff. He's got a ton of folks working with him, and you can email them at ppsimmons@live.com. But Mike Shoesmith is a syndicated blogger. He's an author. He is the executive editor of the PNN News Network, and of course, he's been here with me as a co-host of Freedom Friday for many, many years. Mike Shoesmith, I'm so glad you're with us. One of the first things that I want to ask you about, have you been keeping yourself up to date on Obama basically blowing up the Keystone pipeline? Pun intended.
Blowing up the Keystone pipeline, yes. A new cartoon must be in the works here. We actually have a cartoonist who offers contributions to the PNN network. In fact, his latest contribution was that of a football player who has the ball in hand and he's in mid-stride with a grimace look on his face, trying to move the ball down the field.
Yeah.
The football player is America. The ball is the American economy.
Yeah.
And Barack Obama is on his back, on the football player's back, smashing him in the head with a hammer. That is the best illustration I think that we have ever shown of how Obama is treating America with the U.S. economy. You know,
I hear you. But let me just ask: was that cartoon done by a PNN cartoonist?
It was, yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
PNN cartoonist.
Where can people see that?
Well, they can see that. It was done a while ago. I think we posted it to our Facebook page, which has 7,000 people, and we use it in our article writings and so on.
Yeah,
it belongs to us, and
yeah.
it was very well done, and it really does illustrate how, because the U.S. economy is very resilient. It doesn't respond well to people who try and destroy it. So, you know, we have been documenting for the last 6 years plus how Obama is trying to destroy the U.S. economy.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? The U.S. economy is fighting back. It's like a big, muscular football player trying to move the ball down the field, and yet here we have Obama straddled to the back of this football player trying to slow it down, and you know, Obama, he's not a very muscular man, so I don't know. There's only so much he can do without totally exposing his intentions, which I believe you and I were very instrumental in documenting his intentions,
yep.
even as early as 2008. Speaking of which, 7 years ago, by the way, just to get back on topic here, the TransCanada Corporation, they petitioned the U.S. To give them a permit to build what is known as the Keystone Pipeline. That would funnel oil from the tar sands of northern Canada, which is Alberta, Saskatchewan, down to these refineries in the Gulf area. And it would take the oil off of the streets of small-town America and you know, run them through the heart of America in a safe pipeline infrastructure, which would deliver the oil without people having to sleep with one eye open in the middle of the night to make sure they didn't burn alive, as we saw happen in Lac-Mégantic, Quebec, back in 2013, which is a small town in Quebec, which sits on the border with Maine, when a 74-car rail line disengaged from the engine and rolled down into town in the middle of the night and wiped out half of the town, killing 47 people.
Right.
And this is what we have going on through the small town America and Canada in the dead of night, these death trains going through. We've talked about this before.
Yes, we have.
Right. So they petitioned the U.S. government to allow them to begin construction on this pipeline. And shortly after that, dictator Barack Hussein Obama was coronated King of America and literally worshipped as God. You and I talked about this back then. Obama was literally worshipped as God during this time.
As the Messiah, as the Christ, and some even referred to him as God, and kind of tongue-in-cheek, but not really. You're right.
No.
I mean, there were Time, Newsweek, some of those hailed him as a Messiah. using
Right.
that term.
Right, and people walked around with T-shirts saying, "In Obama we trust," replacing God.
Right.
In God we trust on the U.S. money, replacing God with Obama.
Yep.
He was worshipped as God. Chris Matthews having tingling running up and down his thigh. I mean, all you got to do is go back over YouTube videos. This man was literally worshipped as God, folks.
Yeah.
And so here we have this man, but he needed money. So where did he get his money? He got a large portion of his money, his financing for his campaigns, from none other than Warren Buffett, right? So here we have the TransCanada Corporation applying for his permit to build this pipeline to take oil off of the rail car system, which is extremely dangerous. And by the way, costs 3 times as much as a pipeline. I just looked these numbers up today. It costs these oil companies 3 times as much money to ship through rail than it does through pipelines.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the finances make sense, the safety makes sense, the environmental impact makes sense, because these engines are burning vast amounts of diesel fuel to move these things. How much diesel fuel do you think it costs to move oil through a pipeline, Carl?
I don't have
it's a very small number.
Yeah.
It's actually zero.
Zero is what I would think.
Number.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I mean,
what does Warren Buffett have to do?
There might be a pump along the way that's operated by diesel fuel. I don't know.
By electricity, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yes. Yeah, anyway, so that's how that all works. It doesn't burn any fuel, and it's very safe. It takes this crude oil out of downtown, out of small town America and major city America, where people are in danger every night. By the way, people don't know what goes on at night. It's just scary, right? But anyway. So Obama shuts all this down, and he postpones he doesn't tell the TransCanada pipeline people, you know what, it's over, we're not going to allow it. He waits 7 years. And here's what I think is going on here. We've talked about this before, but people need a refresher on this, because this is breaking news today, by the way. Obama just killed this today. So Warren Buffett, he financed a large portion of Obama's campaign, right? Well, what does Warren Buffett have to do with this? He owns BNSF. And what is BNSF? It is the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad.
See, I was wondering, I was going to ask you, and I didn't have any idea where you were going, but I was going to ask you if perhaps, the railroad companies had something to do with it. So go ahead.
Well, Warren Buffett owns BNSF. And BNSF makes a large percentage of their gross revenue from hauling what?
Yeah.
Crude oil.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that crude comes directly from the tar sands. Now, Obama, even NPR today pointed out the hypocrisy coming from the Obama cabinet regarding all of this, because while Obama was postponing this, whether or not they were going to, the ruling on the TransCanada's application for a permit to build the Keystone pipeline, while he was postponing that, he was approving the fracking that's going on in the United States of America. North Dakota has been prospering like crazy through fracking, bringing oil up out of the ground using fracking techniques. We won't get into all that today.
But that doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt the railway. See.
Exactly. So I think what we have going on here is Obama postponing all of this, holding that ace up his sleeve against Warren Buffett, say, hey, Warren, listen, we could approve this pipeline at any minute, and that will take billions of dollars out of your pocket.
Right.
But as long as you keep funding my campaigns, funding OFA, which is Obama for America, funding all of my pet projects, listen, we will just keep postponing. We are not going to make a decision on this because, listen, we are the puppet master.
Yeah, Mike,
you
listen.
are the puppet.
Yeah, Mike, I think you're onto something, as always, and we do have to take a break, so we're going to start the music and we're going to go to that. But listen, as we go out, folks, I want you to hear, this was Obama's official quote today about why he's shutting down the Keystone. Quote, "America is now a global leader when it comes to taking serious action to fight climate change. And frankly, approving this project would have undercut our global leadership in climate change." Oh my gosh. Folks, aren't you glad you're listening to Freedom Friday? Look at the insight that you're getting. They're not going to have this discussion on Fox News tonight, I guarantee you. We'll talk about this and so much more when we come back. You're listening